Hey everybody, this is Jeff Welch with This Tiny Empire, and I am here today with Preston Pollard. Just really excited to get a chance to talk to this young man who is doing some amazing stuff. And so Preston is originally from Anchorage, Alaska. He's currently living in LA, and I had to write this down because his list of accomplishments is long. So Preston is a pro skateboarder. He's an actor, a model. Like me, he's a model.
Exactly. There you
No.
go.
He's
Yeah.
a TV host, a motivational speaker, and an all-around sharp-dressed man.
Thank you.
This
Thank
guy,
you.
yeah, to the nines here. So Preston, I know that you are working on the OWN network. You've done some TV hosting
hmm
there. That's kind
hmm
of a big deal. So why don't you fill in some gaps for me about what about that little bio? Maybe do you want to fill
Definitely.
in some things?
Yeah, definitely. Well, first off, I like to let people know that my hometown is in Anchorage, Alaska. A lot of people were thinking, we thought you were from, Georgia or, not Alaska. So that is a
Yeah.
shock. But I really love to explain to them of was born and raised in Anchorage, and when I was younger, I had this dream, this passion burning inside of me to become this huge professional skateboarder. That was the dream. I would tell my friends, I'd tell my parents. I'd really just this is my room I grew up in. So you see, I have magazines on my walls, and
Nice.
and so as a kid, after I wanted to be a professional skateboarder, I started to practice and I started to hang around other people that were really better than me at skateboarding, so I could learn and figure out different tricks. And so eventually I ended up getting sponsored by a skate shop called Northern Border, owned by a wonderful man named Jay Liska. And so soon after that, I think the passion just started to rise inside of me, like this could be possible.
Yeah.
And so after that, I began to just make sponsor me videos and and I went to San Diego
Hmm.
and I got to go to this trade show, which was amazing. And I got to meet other pro skateboarders. And then I ended up getting more sponsors and getting more recognition and from skateboarding. And then, but through skateboarding, I've always felt some sort of like kids would always, want to ask me about questions in
Hmm.
life. And I'm not saying I was like the perfect guy. I mean, I was out there too, going to parties and doing my thing too.
Hmm.
But like when I was 18, that's when my life really changed. And I really wanted to do something that was positive through skateboarding.
Hmm.
Because a lot of times in the skateboard world, a lot of kids grow up from maybe a father was absent in their life, or
Hmm.
maybe they just went through some hard time. And I was like,
Hmm.
wow, I'm placed in this perfect place where
Yeah.
there's actually a need, a big need. And so from there on, after moving to California, other great doors, I say, God doors started to open up, just
Hmm.
amazing doors that I could just only pinch myself to imagine. I
Yeah.
started to just hang around other successful people, whether it was actors or painters or anybody. And all my friends were just doing so much stuff. And I actually started speaking at 18, and there was just a need for that as well, just to for other kids to see somebody like them,
Hmm.
and not to go pound on them like don't do that, don't do that, but just I can just express my story
Yeah.
and how they can like, wow, a kid from Alaska can do it. Why can't I do it? And so that's why I really wanted to. That's why I've been pursuing speaking, and
Yeah.
and so when it comes with anything with whether it's acting or TV hosting, I got to do 4 great, amazing episodes on Oprah.com, which was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Only a God thing could happen.
Mhm.
Um, my whole dream with that was just to inspire other kids or anyone who watches that, even though I'm here right now, if I can focus, if I can stick to what my God-given talents are, who knows where I'll be in the future.
Sure. And I've watched some of your videos of you skateboarding, and I'm not a particularly coordinated person, and I
Yeah.
think I may have had sustained an ankle injury just watching some of those some of those. I mean, when you go over
Yeah.
the fire hydrant, I was like, nope, I'm out.
Nope. I've taken a lot of slams, so
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Well, and so that's interesting. So I mean, not having ever been a part of skateboard culture, it does seem to me like people who come out of skateboard culture, they have to have this built-in almost fearlessness where it's like you have to fail 10,000 times to nail
Yeah.
it, and I
Yeah.
think that so many kids today, they want to get it right the first time. They're afraid
Mhm.
of stepping up and it not working out. And so maybe what did you learn from skateboarding about taking a risk and knowing that it might not work out the first time, but if you try long enough, good things will happen?
Yeah, I've learned a ton from that. I've learned, like I always use the metaphor of skateboarding to how I view my life in a sense, because when you skateboard, you have to have patience. When you skateboard, you have to have perseverance. When you skateboard, you have to have a drive to continue to want more. You have to have an ability to imagine your landing before you land it. So just like in life, when you want success, you can't think negative, like, oh, I ain't gonna do it. Well, then you ain't gonna do it. So you have to think of a way that's contrary of how you feel. So anytime I'm skateboarding, I'm always like, I'm gonna land this trick, I'm gonna picture it in my head, I'm gonna imagine it, or I make a goal, like I'm gonna do it until I land it. So it could be hours and hours and hours, but that's my mindset. So whether it's then I could put it into life, whatever I'm focusing on.
Sure.
I'm gonna do it and do it and do it, even though it's hard. Like just like speaking, I was terrified, I was scared, but the more you do it, the more you feel, and the more you prepare, then you feel better. So,
so when you're talking to kids, because I think that's great. I love the idea that you would take something that you're good at and say, wait, how can I not just use it so that everyone loves me, but how can I use this to help other people, to make things better for the people around me? And so I love that you have sort of developed this mentoring relationship with kids through skateboarding, and that you've chosen to then take that to the next level and talk to kids at schools. And I know you travel all over the place to talk to kids. When you talk to those kids, what are kind of the one or the two things that you really want them to take away from that, from what you have to share?
The one or two things that I really want them to understand is it doesn't matter where you're from or what you've been through, that you can still make it. I also want to take away with them is, because a lot of times, where they grew up, a lot of their family or friends tell them, you can't do nothing, you're not going to succeed. That dream of you working on computers, you're a nerd, and all these things that they hear. And like me, I wasn't the best in school. I was in special ed classes, and I tell them my favorite class was nap period. I'll just be, just joking with them. But I like to explain to them that where you are right now, you don't know where your life is going to take you in the next 10 years. So I want to build confidence into them. I want to show them that I'm just like them. I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
And I also want to show them that you can be cool doing the right thing. I want to change that mindset of, to order to be cool, I gotta just, sell drugs, or I gotta, and I tell the drug dealers after school, I said, look, now you guys are smart, you guys are hustlers. Now change that hustle, change that same mentality over maybe going to school or starting a business, and you will be so successful. So it's just all in your mindset. It's sometimes it's how they grew up. They might have grown up in a family that was just, they were surrounded by a gang life. They were surrounded by, so I really try to influence them in, I would say, a positive way. And that's my goal. So I want to make sure I can get confidence into them. I want to also make sure that I could give them some things to think about in terms of your goals. What are your goals? Because I think when you have goals, you feel like you have purpose. And I think purpose is, if you don't feel like you have purpose in life, then you're just running around like a chicken with your head cut off. Like you're just doing stuff because you don't feel like you don't have purpose. But once you feel like I have a purpose, then you feel like, wow, I could focus. I could really do this thing. And then you feel like, well, in order to accomplish my purpose now I can't be going partying and acting a fool, because I have to focus on this to get through. So.
Sure. So I think I know a little bit, just based on how you are, the things you're talking about and the way you seem to conduct yourself. But how does the kid from Anchorage, Alaska, end up on Oprah's network?
Well, first of all, I love to tell
in the
people,
world?
I mean, there's more than that, and I think in the future, so many blessings but that's just one of the blessings. But I will tell you again, it's a God thing, because the way from the outside, I'm unqualified. I'm not qualified. I'm just saying, in the way you would view it from a person that didn't go to school for broadcasting, came from Alaska. How in the world? I understand. But I always say I want to start with, God has definitely blessed me, and it's been a lot of times when prayer, and it just because sometimes being an entrepreneur, it's kind of like, Lord help me, Lord.
Yes.
For you're an entrepreneur, so you're really, it's not like you can get an application in, and that's not even how it happened. But what happened was, as I was having this passion for speaking, I met this lady who was involved in a nonprofit organization.
Mm-hmm.
Her and her husband were involved. It's called the Sheriff's Youth Foundation in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up meeting them, and they asked me, "What is your dream? What would you like to do?" I said, "I would want to encourage more youth. I think that's important. I think that the youth they need to see young people. I mean, there's everybody talking about bullying, everybody talking about a lot of stuff, but there's not a lot of young people they can look up to and talk to and be able to see themselves in." So I said, I want to do more of that. I've done it since I was 18, but I want to come out to LA and I just want to do more. So they said, "Cool, well, your first assignment, you're gonna go to Compton." I said, "Compton? Oh no, I don't want to go to Compton." I was like, I heard too many things about Compton, and I was like, I'll go anywhere but no. But that's kind of how I felt. I was fearful. I was scared of what I seen in the movies and what I already thought it would be like. But I was like, no, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go because since I'm fearing this thing, I need to go there for a reason. So I ended up going there and falling in love with the Compton community, falling in love with Watts and these different places. The kids were so warming. It was amazing. It wasn't even how I envisioned. I was envisioning they were gonna like rough me up. You know what I mean? Who are you? You know, and it wasn't even like that. They just wanted to talk about their experiences. They just wanted somebody to listen to. Just the small things. It was really awesome. Yeah. And so after I did that and I was really consistent with that, and I did it for nothing. I mean, I just love to do it. It wasn't about I want to do it for a buck. It was like, this is my heart, and I just want to do it because I wish when I was younger, I had that. Sure. So after doing that, she then explained to me that her and her husband had some connections with the OWN network, and I was like, they were saying that they were wanting to get me connected with the network, and I was like, well, hey, if it happens, it would be awesome. But I understand people are busy, and sometimes a lot of people say things, they're gonna do things, and they don't do it. Yeah. So I just was patient and continued to work and help kids, and then it was like a year later when I got the opportunity to go to the OWN headquarters in California. It was amazing. I made sure, I made sure that I was dressed head to toe with a suit. I was more than on time. I had all my material ready. I had everything. We went into a boardroom. I had to meet with all of like Oprah's like program directors and all these phenomenal people that do their thing. Yeah. And so I got the opportunity to sit down and let them know what I'm doing, and they were excited. And they said, "Well, man, you're doing everything. We don't even know where to put you, but for now, we want to get you on our network to be able to basically for them to get my information out towards what I want to do with talks and different things that I had to share." So that's how that came to be. And so I only did 4 of them for now, but I know that this is just the beginning of great things. And so that's, like I said, that's my goal, is to continue wanting to leave a legacy of help, and not just to I really want to, because I'm already blessed. So I just want to make sure whatever I can do to leave that legacy of, man, Preston was a helper. He took his time, just like you and what you do. It feels good to go out and share your expertise. But not only that, you're learning too. I'm learning. So it doesn't matter if I'm on stage, I'm learning so much. And it's a really humbling experience.
That's just wonderful. And I'm a firm believer that we're all kind of like interviewing for our next opportunity right now. And that person who may not be the big programming director, it's easy to sort of get ready for that meeting. But in a lot of cases, it's the person you meet at that conference that you just treat with dignity and respect because they're another person, not because of something they can do for you. Right. And down the road, it seems like those little relationships, they start to pay dividends, not because that was the goal, but just because of the way that you conducted yourself. And I definitely see that happen for you. And I'm thoroughly impressed with you, Preston. And I'm so glad that we had a chance to talk here for a few minutes. Is there any last minute things you want to say, or ways people can get in touch with you if they want to know more?
Yes, definitely. They could get in touch with me on my website, PrestonPollard.com, PrestonPollard. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it. If there's any teachers or any schools that would love to, I would love to come out, share my story with your kids to motivate them. I think in this generation, we need it. I think we just need more young people. And I tell them, even when I go, and it's awesome when I have educated or spoke life into some kids, I see them years later, and one kid was interning at Channel 2 News, or he's actually working there now. And so it's just cool to see different things. But I just want to thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for this interview. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's absolutely my pleasure. And I'll link to all those things in the blog post as well. So,
all right, perfect.
Thank you so much, Preston. You have a wonderful day. Be well.
Thank you. Bye-bye.